As discussed yesterday by Ade and Tony, the WBC has ordered Tyson Fury to defend his title against Dillian Whyte. This is great for Dillian, who has been waiting for this opportunity for years now. The last person to share the ring with Fury, Deontay Wilder, made different kind of news this week, discussing his future in the sport of boxing on Kevin Hart's program Laugh Out Loud Network. It's mixed feelings because ultimately I have accomplished all my goals in this sport. I told my daughter when she was 1 that I'd be a champion and I'd be able to support her beyond her belief. Should I push forward? Should I give it a go one more time? Or should I just retire and focus on other things that I already have, other things I want to get into? Wow. I do remember him saying years ago that he wanted to get into some acting, but is that pulling him away from the sport? What do you think? We seen the last of Deontay Wilder or what?
Well, first off, about that ordering and the sanctioned body ordering Fury to fight Dillian Whyte. That ordering thing, it means nothing until contracts are signed. As far as Deontay Wilder, Barack, when you've made, you've said it plenty of times, when you've made millions of dollars and you're a millionaire and you're living very comfortable and other opportunities come your way, if this is the case, it's kind of harder to get back into that gym. It's not only about fighting, it's about the time you spend in the gym, the rigorous training, the 8, 9 to 10 weeks before every fight, not to mention, his last 2 hard fights. So I don't know if we've seen the last of him. The question is this enough? Has he done enough in the sport to be a Hall of Famer? I think that might be important to him. He is a very competitive fighter. Does he want to go out with that loss, that last loss? Is that the last fight he wants people to remember? I think that his competitive spirit will get him back into the ring some way, somehow. But right now, he's probably very comfortable. But when that competitiveness kicks in, eventually he'll be back in the ring. I'm going to say it here, I'm calling it now. We have not seen the last of Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I think he's done well for the sport. Think about it. He started boxing at 20. 21, he said to Kevin Hart the other day. So that means like 2005, 2006, he walks into the gym. 2007, he wins the Golden Gloves. That same year, he wins the Nationals. The next year, in 2008, he wins the bronze medal at the Olympics. And you're talking about from the day he walked into the gym, about 13 to 14 years later, he became heavyweight champion and defended the title 10 times. Tie-in with Muhammad Ali for the most consecutive defenses. So I think he's done very, very good for the sport. Think about it. Before he became champion in 2015, there was an 8-year drought of American heavyweights, the longest in boxing history. There's always been an American heavyweight, just about. We've never not had one for that long. He broke that. And I just think that means a lot. Now, we talk about Hall of Fame. I think the criteria might be slightly different for a heavyweight because you can't really go up to a different weight class. So I think it should be a little bit different. Now, if you're talking about winning a title, defending it 10 times, that sounds pretty great compared to most heavyweights. He's number 5, tied with Muhammad Ali,
All right, forget about that Hall of Fame, Barack. What do you think he will be remembered for the most? Now, let's think about it. Even in his 2 losses, he still showed what he's known for in those fights by knocking Fury down several times. Is it just power? Is that what's going to be his legacy?
100%. 20 first-round KOs. Probably the highest KO ratio in the history of boxing. That's what he's going to be remembered for. That's what you want to be remembered for as a heavyweight.
For sure. Of course. You want to have titles. You want to have some sort of, reign. And he had that reign. He had that with the WBC title. There was always fights that people wanted to see that actually didn't happen, like the Anthony Joshua fight. We all saw the Fury trilogy, which was great. There's still unfinished business, I think, with him and Joshua. And I think that's who he might end up fighting eventually, Barack.
That would be great. No matter what, losses. It's funny because when they were supposed to fight, or when Deontay wanted that fight in the beginning, they were both undefeated and they were both champions. And that's the reason why Deontay Wilder only had 1 strap, or who knows if he would have beat Anthony Joshua, but he didn't have the opportunity to fight for any other straps because of that. And then he found his nemesis and never had the opportunity to go back to Joshua.
I would say that it would probably impact Wilder a little bit more, that fight not happening, because Joshua has done more. He's fought bigger names. He's defended his title, won them back, and he's going to try to win them back again against Usyk. And I think Wilder just has fury. So who knows? I mean, I think he's an exciting fighter to watch still to this day. If he, you know, and I'm quoting him to this day, if you watch him, you're going to be on the edge of your seat regardless of who he fights. So I think the interest is still there. But is the desire there for Deontay Wilder? And that's the question that we'll eventually get the answer to.
I think he's been sleeping on silk sheets for a while now. Think about it. He's worth $40 million. He had told us that he wanted to get into some acting. I know in 2019 he played in an episode of Billions and, you know, did fairly well in another episode of Magnum PI or whatever. So maybe that's his thing. Maybe he wants to get into that. Maybe he has some businesses. I know he's been buying property all over the place. So who knows what he wants to do.